Time and time again, I see people posting on social media that they can't go overlanding because they have a stock Subaru or Volvo or Honda. Having a big lifted truck covered in roto-packs and traction mats can be a lot of fun, but there are actually a lot of downsides to it. In this video, I'm going to take you along on a quick trip in my wife's stock Honda Pilot to talk about why your vehicle shouldn't stop you from getting out and exploring. All Things Overlanding is brought to you by Red Arc, Power Management Solutions, Rugged Bound Supply Company, rooftop tents, awnings, roof racks, and more. Overland Addict, premium overland gear. Last US Bag, overlanding bags and equipment. Northology Overland, trips and a monthly overlanding magazine. All of these companies are really amazing, so I highly recommend you click through the links in the description below to learn more about each of them. Hey there, Fletch from All Things Overlanding here. On today's episode, I am overlanding in my wife's 2017 Honda Pilot. You know, I've talked quite a bit on my channel about people that have asked me questions and have wanted to go overlanding, but they're like, I have a Subaru Crosstrek, or, you know, I have a vehicle that is not, you know, super built up with huge wheels and tires and skid plates and sliders and solar panels and all that stuff. So I decided just to take her car to kind of do it as a proof of concept, right? To show you that no matter what you drive, even if it's just like a normal car, you can still go to a national forest, you can still camp, you can still have a good time. My 8-year-old and I have spent the last hour or so driving around the gravel roads here of Hoosier National Forest, exploring, looking for sites. It's actually pretty full this weekend. It's the weekend before fall break, and the weather is perfect. It's beautiful. So anyways, I'm going to show you around camp. I'm going to show you kind of the setup in this truck. Again, it is not built as an overlanding rig. I told my wife yesterday I was going to take it, so there's actually some IKEA furniture in the back, but I'm just going to kind of show you what I'm dealing with and show you that you can do it too, no matter what you drive. All right, so let's get into it. If you aren't already subscribed to the channel, definitely click that subscribe button, click the bell to be notified when new videos drop. I do general sort of do-it-yourself modifications, overlanding videos, beginner type stuff, right? If you're new to overlanding, I do videos about that stuff all the time. I've been doing it for a few years now. I still consider myself a novice, but I'm learning every day, right? And it's a lot of fun. So definitely click that subscribe button. Check out the other links in the description below for all the other social channels, and I'd love to have you. This is a 2017 Honda Pilot all-wheel drive. Literally bone stock, not a thing done to it, not even tires or anything. It is on the street tires that come on it. It is an EXL, so it has the leather seats. I mean, it is not even designed at all to be off-roaded, really. But it did great out here. It does great on the gravel roads without the bigger, meatier tires on it and stuff. I'm not throwing rocks all down the side of the vehicle, so I feel like I'm actually probably doing less damage to this vehicle than I do to my own when I bring it out here. But so it was actually a lot of fun exploring. It was more comfortable. It had a lot of, this thing has a lot of nice features. It has CarPlay. It has, you know, a lot of those things, like a side camera on it so you can see behind you. Just a lot of really nice features. So in some cases, this is actually kind of a better alternative to some of those big trucks, especially for like a weekend trip like this on gravel roads where you're not doing any challenging trails or anything like that. There can be some advantages. Also, it gets about 7-8 miles per gallon better on fuel than my truck does. So again, I'm driving 2 hours from home to get down here, so this is actually a pretty good option for, you know, someone that is looking just to camp or overland occasionally on pretty mild trails, gravel trails, going to national forests and stuff to do some dispersed camping. These are actually not bad options. So I've actually been pretty impressed with this thing. So another nice thing about this thing is it's got a power lift gate. So if your hands are full and you're packing out gear and stuff, kind of nice to just be able to push a button and have it open and throw your stuff in. So as you can see, I've already taken out, we're gonna do hammock camping tonight. So again, I've got my 8-year-old with me. He's gonna be in a hammock, I'm gonna be in a hammock. We got a couple chairs out, we've got our cooler out. So we've taken some stuff out of the back. There's still a ton of room in this thing though. If you're familiar with Pilots, they're 8-seaters, so they're actually pretty big vehicles. So we've actually got a couple other chairs in here that I just left. They were from soccer the other day. This is IKEA furniture, and these go all the way up to the front seat. So we've got that in there, and even so, we've still got plenty of room for all of our stuff. So there's a lot of room in this thing. It gets better gas mileage. There are a lot of pros to these things. If you wanted to modify it a little bit, you could put a little lift on it and some bigger tires, and that would get you through most things, I would say. Again, you're not going to be doing rock crawling. You're not going to be going through like a Moab or things like that, right? But you can do most of the trails around the Midwest because most of them are just gravel, right? So again, something like this actually makes a lot of sense for overlanding. But again, this is not built at all. In my truck, you know, I've got a deck system, I've got a rooftop tent, I've got an awning, I've got tons and tons of stuff. I've always got everything that I need, which is really nice. But you could build a sleeping platform in one of these. You could build a drawer system, just a flat one, you know, that's on the ground. You could still use most of the space in the vehicle. So there are a ton of options for how you could deck one of these things out, which makes it a really interesting proposition, right? I'm probably not going to get one because I do like to do a lot of the challenging trails. I like to have, you know, the big bad rig that looks cool and can go on any trail that I want. But if you're not going to like the absolute pushing your limits to the max to try and get out to the hardest to reach spot that no one can get to, this thing will get you to 85–90% of the spots, at least again in the Midwest where I live. All right, so as I mentioned, it is a busy weekend this weekend. The weather is perfect, it's beautiful. So we did find one that's kind of close to the road for my taste, but it's just fine, right? Like, I mean, again, we're in hammocks, so we don't need anything super crazy. So this is our setup. So we've got a couple little folding chairs. I've got my little rotiform cooler. Put a link in the description of that. I actually really love that thing. I usually, again, with my truck, I use a refrigerator. I have an Alpacool 58 quart refrigerator, which is really handy and really nice. But for like a quick overnighter like this in the Midwest, throw some beer and some water bottles in there, any food that you've got, throw some ice in it, and this thing will hold ice for 2 or 3 days easy. So we've got that. I've got my little Life Do fire pit here, which we're actually going to use a little bit later. We're just starting a fire to sit around for now, but then when we cook later, because we wanted it to be light, we didn't want to bring propane and a stove and the, you know, all the hose that you need for that. So instead we just brought the Life Do, and it has a built-in grill on top of it. So we're going to use that to cook our food later. We've got some soup, and I think Ethan has some ramen. And then we brought hammocks, like I said. And actually, I messed up. Again, this is the beauty of building out a rig and having like a dedicated drawer system so that you don't forget stuff. I didn't bring straps for his hammock. So what I've done is I actually took my straps from my hammock over there, wrapped them around this tree, and secured his hammock to it. And the same over here. And then I've also got my hammock coming off of it diagonally. So I think it's a pretty clever use of tree straps. I guess we'll see if I'm on the ground in the morning or not. But so that is our sleeping arrangements, right? But again, with a hammock especially, it is very small once you pack it down. So from a storage space standpoint, you don't need much. If you built some sort of like a flat drawer system in the back of something like a Pilot or a Subaru or something like that, you could have still a lot of room and have all your stuff kind of just set to go with you whenever you need it. But so something this basic, you know, I could actually, this much stuff I could have taken in a trunk of a sedan, for sure. It takes up almost no room. So again, don't let your vehicle stop you from getting out and exploring, right? Again, don't do stupid stuff. Don't put yourself in a situation where you could get stuck or hurt. You don't want to try and do the crazy trails in your, you know, stock Honda Pilot probably, but it's still a good option for camping and for going out and exploring and hitting up some light trails and spending a weekend in the woods.
So once we had camp set up, we started working on dinner. It was pretty refreshing to have such a simple setup because it allowed us to just enjoy our food and nature. Once the sun set, the coyotes were out in numbers. We turned in for the night and slept great in our hammocks. It just goes to show you, you don't have to have fancy rooftop tents just to get out and explore. The next morning, the drive out was beautiful, and we were glad we just got out and didn't make excuses and got into the woods.
All right, guys, so that was the video. If you're listening on the podcast, again, I tried to describe stuff as much as I possibly could. But again, just let this be, I hope that this is, you know, helpful for you guys and gals that are, you know, maybe hesitant to get out, maybe don't know where to go, don't know what to do. If you haven't watched, I will put a tag up here, and I may link it at the end of the video too, but if part of your hesitance is your vehicle, I hope that this video is helpful for you. If part of your hesitance is just not knowing enough about dispersed campgrounds and like kind of where to go and where you're allowed to go and where you're not, again, I'll put a link up here and at the end of this video. I just made a video last week that talks about that. So there is actually a video where I talked a little bit about the basics of dispersed camping, kind of how to know where to go, what to look for, what to bring, that sort of stuff. So check that video out for sure, and hopefully that's helpful for you. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for listening if you're on the podcast. Again, links in the description below to all my social media, Facebook, Instagram, podcast if you're on YouTube, YouTube if you're on the podcast. I also have a Patreon page. It's awesome. I'm trying to build it up with a bunch of like really cool, you know, no frills, no snobby people, no elitists, just do-it-yourselfers, weekend overlanders, people that want to get out and explore in their Honda Pilot, people that want to just get out and explore or camp and love doing it with their vehicles. So definitely go check that out as well. But until next time, I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.